think we are live now on YouTube. Da, da, da. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have Michelle in the house this evening, which is very exciting.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. So we're just going to give it a minute or two because obviously people need to find us. So I'm just going to log in. And okay, here we go. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm just going to put it on a few different links, let people know that we are there. Here we go. So say hello when you jump on. Nice to have you guys with us. This is the second in our Virtues series. We are going to be talking about patience this evening, something I definitely need to learn. So, right. Here we go. Excellent. So if you are joining us now, welcome, 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 welcome. Please do me a favor and share this link before we start this evening so people can find us. Just getting the comments up. So you guys had a good day while we're waiting for people to join us? Have you had a nice day over in sunny? Are you still in Spain?
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful and sunny at the moment.
Our back garden is the beach, so we're happy about that.
It's only been around 20, but I think the moon's coming back over our side, so bringing a bit of a chill with it.
Right, well, it was snowing here yesterday.
You must be getting a bit as well.
I bet your dogs love that.
Yeah, exactly, they did. Hey guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. I think people are joining us. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're just giving it a few minutes. We just want to do a little sound check. Hi Mike, can you let me know if our sound is okay? My resident sound engineer is in the house this evening. He's going to help us out. And then please do share this link. We're going to try and get as many people on as we can this evening. Hello Angela, hello Holly, hello Chera, hello Andrea, Fiona, Nina, Dion. Welcome, Tasha. Excellent. So people are just joining us, which is wonderful. Sound balance is fine. Thank you, Mike. Amazing, 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 amazing. So tonight is the second in our Virtues series. So just to sort of reset the scene for everyone. First of all, I'd love to introduce you to the beautiful Josh and Michelle X. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
So Michelle, wonderful to have you with us tonight. I'm so glad you could join us. Little man is sleeping
Peacefully.
And he doesn't really want to go to bed by the sounds of things.
No, he's just always excited. So yeah,
he does love bed because he cuddles mum all the time.
Yeah, snuggles.
But he is just full of energy because he's plant-based.
Of course, yeah, he doesn't.
It's a different level compared to the average child, and the behavior is always perfectly on point. Just because he doesn't watch TV and do the normal things that distract children, he's a wonderful, wonderful being. And
I bet you tell some great bedtime stories in your house.
Oh, he likes the squirrel stories at the moment, doesn't he?
we seen a red squirrel when we were walking in the woods, and he's interested in the squirrels at the moment.
Bless him.
And also inventing many different things every day. He's an inventor.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't wait to meet him. Sounds like he's like a little ray of sunshine. Okay, so we've got lots more people joining us. So hello Tina, hello Jerry. Hi Gav, nice to have you here. Kira, brilliant, lovely to have all of you guys with us. I would love it if you could just share this in some groups. Let's get a few more people on. Let's let them know that we are live. So tonight, what we're doing the second in our Virtues series. You may or may not remember, but we are doing this series of YouTube lives, and we are talking about the virtues, and we have created a program called the Virtuous X Life. And actually, Josh, before we start, can you explain to everyone, like, why the X, why the Virtuous X Life? Why not just the virtuous life?
X itself is one of the most important letters in the alphabet. It is a symbol of the masculine and feminine, So you'd have the masculine and the feminine in perfect balance. So this is why X will always mark the spot. I do have the trusty whiteboard.
Yeah.
The X marks the spot. And you'll see the masculine and feminine together. Here would be the dipolar point where light would be released. So as you merge these two energies together, you will release light in any situation, whether you've got a light body or as a torus field. So this is one of the highest symbols that we do have. This is why our matrix has always presented it to us in such a way, like treasure maps and things like this. And X.
Wow, X marks the spot.
Of course, and the spot is SPOT, which is the sine wave of light vibration in a physical. So the light itself comes from the spot, which is the die. Die is form and consciousness together, which is balancing spirit and body.
Wow.
In our essence as such, to release the magnetic field or light, which is the light body, which is enlightenment, which would be to die. This is why Bruce Lee said to learn to die is to be liberated from death.
Wow. So there really is signs and signals everywhere. It's just
Everywhere.
we don't see them, do we? We don't spot them.
And then you continue to keep doing this. Sorry about my line. And you'll start to see this as vortex mathematics now. And this is hidden. If you continue to do this, you'll see the geometry of a torus from the X itself. You keep marking the X.
Oh yes, of course. Like there's
And
lots of
you'll see the
X's
line,
all the way
yeah,
around, yeah.
and basically it creates a net or a shape of a net. This is why magnetism is magnet. I see. The mother gene net, and net is 10 backwards, which is the 0 and 1, which is the masculine and feminine of creation.
Wow.
And perfect balance itself is represented by the 0 and the 1, like this. Oh, sorry, but that's a Phoenician Q, and it'll come into play. This is also like the on-off switch. You see the 0 and the 1 in the middle.
So hence the virtuous X life, because we're trying to
Bring
represent
balance.
the balance that we want everyone to come into, and the planet really to come into, because obviously that's why we've got the problems we've got at the moment, is that we're out of balance.
It's the simple teaching, and if one's strong enough to action it and to then get the eyes into the world of energy, you will know how your universe is working, and everything is unfolding from you, to you, for you. And without the eyes to see it, it just remains a coincidental experience that we're lucky to have. And we have no true effect with our thoughts, feelings, and emotions as an interaction basis with the existence that we have, the world as such. So you're learning your craft, because we look externally from ourselves, externally, and expect situations to change. But the only thing that we really need to do is go inside of ourselves and really understand that we are the wizard and we are the magician, and we must master our craft. Otherwise, we just get lost in the play.
And this is obviously what we're doing here with the Virtuous X Life, is we want to teach people to be the magician of their own lives by coming and doing the program. But I'd love, Michelle, because obviously Josh told me that obviously you were the genius that put all this together. So I would love to hear the story, because obviously Josh was sharing that, you know, he was sort of explaining to you what he was observing, and then you were the one that spotted the fact that the virtues was almost like the secret key. So yeah, I'd just love to hear your side of the story, really.
Yeah, so about maybe 4 years ago, Josh was trying to get me up to speed with his gnosis, which was quite difficult because I was brought in at like my level was kind of right down here, and Josh's was right up here at that time, and everything just wasn't making sense to me, and nothing was clicking, and Josh would say things and I'd be like, yes, but it's, you know, it is what it is, and you know, I'm kind of like here. And so Josh just gave me a picture one day of an occult picture, wasn't it?
It was Baphomet. I don't know if you've seen Baphomet, the goat. If anybody hasn't seen it, check out the Aleister Crowley Baphomet.
Oh, it's like a sort of hand up.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful secret designs in the world, and I'll let Michelle carry on.
Yeah, so I
put it in the course.
yes, yeah. So I was just staring at it, just making no sense of it at all, and I literally had my awakening right then, that second. Like for about an hour, I was just staring at it. I was breastfeeding little one at the time, and I had loads of time just sat there. And I was just staring at this picture, and it was just making no sense. And something just like a light bulb went off in the side of me, and I just decoded the whole thing. And I was so excited. I was like, Josh, I've looked at this, and I know now. I know everything you're saying is true. And so for about 3 days, then I was just looking at everything to do with it. And then I come across the virtues, and literally that second I looked outside and there was a rainbow created, and it just felt like everything just went into place from then. And I just ran down to Josh and I said, the virtues are our keys, and they're going to set us free. And we literally have been mastering those steps for about 4 years now, and they've taken us to places that
no one's reached.
Is incredible. The way that they've
goosebumps.
that they've rolled out, and going over them, like taking the action, walking the walk, and really making the actions manifest for us, like the karma has been such a great, fantastic journey that we've both walked together.
Like,
and
you cannot deny it. It's the ultimate truth. It takes you to the highest point before you have to let go of everything physical, to surrender to the abyss and to the darkness, to know that you are nothing. But this is.
Is this something you were playing with, and then you'd say, "Oh, we did this, or I did this, and this happened"? Is that, were you deconstructing it between the two of you?
Definitely. But I would say about 3 to 4 years prior to that, I was feeding Michelle slowly, over time, trying to give her pieces to the puzzle. So even though things, for example, with flat earth, it's logical, it makes sense, but what does it mean? I get it, it's fine, but it makes no difference to my life. And I'm just continuing along. So there was something inside of her that just come alive to the fact that life is just something so significant, which is the sign of I can see, hidden in the word itself. And I guess we just, because the virtues was something exciting, something new, but it was so direct, we played very hard with it, didn't we? I mean, we were giving ourselves time limits, for example. Once we understood this and we started to read the coding behind the veil of physical nature, we literally just played with it, manifesting things, playing with like weather and fire, and just being able to experience like momentary manifestations and seeing how the world external to us was actually in a full-blown relationship to our energy.
We were really interacting with other energies as well, like so bringing in, say, if we saw beings from outside and they needed help or support, we were interacting with those kind of energies as well, drawing in like universal energies, and helping, like feeding off of one another as well, whilst we had a really great space at that time where we could really be in nature and really be grounded. So we were able to really feel that nurturing energy as well from the earth whilst giving it out as well. So it was a great reciprocation of energy from all around us, really.
It's almost like being lost in a world, completely lost, and then being able to write your own world.
And that's what the world needs. The world is lost, and I think just to sort of, can we reiterate the vision for the listeners as well? Because I think this is one of the reasons we wanted to do this together, was to create obviously these fruit forests and create really the world we want to live in. And I do think the world is lost, and the world needs something like the virtues to enable it to climb its way back out of the mess that we've created.
Yeah, if you were taught this from a younger age, you would always be focused on treating people in the most highest, because it doesn't serve you. Even if someone was in a selfish way, if they truly understood what was happening to them, they would change in an instant.
Absolutely, yeah.
Straight away.
People don't realise, do they? What they put out is what they get back.
Yeah, so it's all a reciprocation of energy, and that's all it is. It's like what you want to bring back to yourself, you have to give out. Otherwise, and
you stay blocked, don't you? So,
yeah.
For example, if we're going to use the word patience just today, just for now, I'm going to use patience. If we're impatient, that energy is impatient. So the energy that's inside of you, the energy that you're projecting, we all know that life is the greatest teacher, but we don't know what it means until we interact on the levels that we have. So what's happening is, as your energy field is in that impatient manner, it will manifest something around you to overcome impatience, or to then continually have an expressed pain body until it becomes too much for you to try and stand back and actually observe what's happening here. And it was just down to the fact that you were running ahead of yourself. The ego mind was taking over. You weren't in this present moment. And now thought forms or demons are popping out because every expression that you've given out is of that energy field. Should we go lower than that? Should I try and explain it more on a 3D basis, do you think?
Well, I think
sorry, the opposite, well, the sin for the opposite from the patience is the wrath, so it's the anger side. So that creates such a low vibration, like it's the lowest vibration, isn't it? The anger form, the thought forms within in the being, and it creates such a hard place to live when you feel that anger and that aggression and that like real low energy, that it creates like a prison cell almost for the being. And to step out of that prison, you need to have these virtues to enable yourself to climb back out of that. And I think these will give you the steps and the guidance to be able to really clear that thought form and that prison cell that's been locked inside of us for so long. And a lot of people keep it within them, and then they get even worse, and then it goes into depression and anxiety, and people want a quick fix for how they can get out of it, and then they go to the doctors and get given even more things that suppress them and side effects from that. And there's so many external things that are given to them. And this is why we need this process, because it's quite a simple step.
It's a cheat code. It's bringing the eyes and the vision back into the alignment to be able to see what's been wrong the whole time. We're always looking externally for something to change, the government to do this. It's called a government because it governs minds. You need the mind governed until you're free.
Yeah, and I think, can we expand on that? Because I think that's kind of what's happening at the moment. I feel that a lot of people are waiting for something to happen, for Trump to come back, for the whole thing to collapse. And that, I'm sorry, I don't buy that. Like, for me, it's about us creating what we want to create. And I really believe that this is a framework that we can follow to create what we want to create in the world. So
it's within us. It is within us. It's not an external source. It's within you. It's an inner being, and it's an inner strength that if you put out that, then you receive it back again. So we can't lok with
it's all relative to perception as well. You don't stay the same unless you stay the same. If you continually try to progress, then your boundaries will be broken daily. Your perception is key, and it's relative to your experience. And anybody, if they choose to focus their intention onto something, will become an absolute master and bring into their own experience things that other people cannot see, things that other people cannot do. And when we're talking about anger leads to resentment. For example, now if you look at the word resentment, you're resenting your mind, because everything is coming from the thought or the mind itself. So really all you need to do is bring yourself into this present state or the moment, and to be able to just see that nothing's been happening. It's just been the illusion in the mind. But then these keys that we're giving now with the virtues allow you to simply just follow them if you don't even have any awareness into them. And gradually over the course, you'll find yourself becoming free. We have people on our Patreon that have not found the space, but as soon as we brought the virtues there, they said within the first 3 to 5 days of being able to practice them, it made sense, it clicked, and now they don't have any resentment, any anger, any impatience, none. And they are able to sit in the space of the Godhead, which is the observer, but they're not maintaining it at this present time. But that's fine, because it just takes practice and the subtleties to be able to stay there.
It's just about letting go. You need to let go of those preconceived and programs that have been put in for many years. Just let them go. And
we don't need more, we need less. To enlighten is to become lighter.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is enlightened is to lighten, as in lighten your load, as in let go of all the stuff you're carrying.
And where do you carry? In the mind. That's why it's called enlightenment.
Subconscious patterns, all the things we're carrying. And can you explain to me actually the meaning of, so what's the kind of, I suppose, dictionary definition of virtue? And then when you break it down through entomology, what does it actually look like?
I've never looked at the Oxford dictionary.
Well, it'd be wrong, probably.
Yes, Oxford is the void, balanced, and a ford. Ford in a river stops the flow of water. So an Oxford dictionary stopping the true information flow into your system. So it's kind of a block for true information. That's why meaning is called meaning, because mean is an average in mathematics. Mathematics is mathematics, which is the movement of the mother. Okay. So to me, virtues, you listen phonetically, it's like virtues, which is like virtual. So it presents a virtual reality, but this virtual reality is controlled by the virtues. And the virtues is your choice in every moment that you have to be able to express yourself honestly if you're in control. If you're not in control, then who is or what is in control? Now, there are etherical energies that have a vibration that are unseen, and they come in the form of thought or thought forms.
Angels and demons.
If you focus your attention onto this thought form, it then becomes embodied, and it finds a vessel to be able to manifest.
And when you say etherical energies, what does that mean?
So unseen energies that live in the ether field are looking for a host. If you put a G, which is represented as 7, because it's the 7th letter in the alphabet, this is the G host. It's a light form on a vibrational level to help you. It may not seem like it's trying to help you, but what it's doing is to try to bring a subtle pain body experience so you can remove the identity that it brings to you.
And is this actually what people refer to as negative entities?
Yeah, it would be as such, but you only allow them in by your intention and focus on it.
So if you drop your vibration and you're in a kind of lower energy or angry space, they can get in.
They'll all jump and stay with you and try to stay with you as long as they can.
And so that's the same thing with like alcohol and drugs and everything like that. It opens up your energy field and lowers your vibration. So then those entities and energies can get in then as well.
And this is why people say, I get emotional when I drink, I get angry, I do this, I do that. It's just aspects of their identity that people have accumulated depending on where, you're birthed or earthed into a family due to the vibration that you carry previous to when you passed, if you're recycling in samsara. So the family that you've been earthed into carry a set vibration for you to go into to have that experience that's necessary for the development of your awareness. So
these things do actually exist. It's that they only can touch you if you're in a vibratory state that is a match to them.
But it's perfection. Because this experience that we're having in duality needs this energy form to be within us for us to see the separation when we don't exist with God or atonement or one with the experience.
It's helping you to earn L, to learn, to take the necessary steps and action to progress.
Yeah.
So it will give you tests along the way, and then you take the choice whether to take the virtuous path of what you know is right and righteous, or the opposite and the sinful way, which will make you fall even further.
Sin. And this is why we must keep on repeating the words that life is the greatest teacher. We've heard this within the Matrix. Unconsciously, within films, media, whatever, we find this word coming to us. And this is how it's teaching you. Through your unconscious actions manifested in a pain experience. Just as simple as something with food or sitting
really
in traffic.
Everything is a lesson is not wrong.
No, it is for you. Everything is a happening and it's for you. The things that cause problems is when we try to get in the way of life. Life is always going to continually just happen because it's a happening. Everything just is. And we're here for the experience of that. But when we identify with these physical bodies, we get lost in matter and play. And we are now conditioned to a certain level to actually believe and perceive that we are the body, the mind, the emotions, the thoughts. And
the
all
ego
of those,
takes over.
and the ego itself is creating that survival pattern. And that survival pattern itself won't be broken unless you become aware of it. And this is why consciousness is key. Because
we've not really had the key before, have we? Nobody's really been given the right instruction manual about how to operate life. And like we said last week, that life is life is energy, not matter. And obviously
exactly.
It's all within you as well. Like all the answers are within.
per 8.
The void of each 8. And this
Say that again, sorry.
So this is a void. This is the void. This is the black hole. This is darkness. Per is like 1 per child. Okay, each, and then 8. What do you operate? The void in each 8. This is like climbing. If you look at the word per as well, it's the light of ether, full magnetism, which is what we truly are. But broken down into the whole word is operate, which is the void of each 8. And this is the climbing that we will be bringing a big system for people to be able to see what's going on as we climb the virtues. It's the 8. This is innate, as we are in
us.
Innate. Yeah.
Mm. And let's talk about the vision as well, while we've got people listening, because obviously, there is a big vision for what we're doing here. Not only is the virtues the secret keys to life, really anybody who comes and does the program with us and then comes down and joins the community with us, our intention is to use the money that we receive from the sale of the program to basically fund a new earth, effectively. So fruit farms, do you want to talk a bit more about the vision and where you see this all going?
Yeah, for many years we see that if people can just see the logic side of planting fruit trees into the earth. Fruit trees also have replenishment of soil. They correct many things. They're the food source for our bodies. They keep us in a state of pure alkalinity. So we're constantly correcting the acidic nature of where we live and the environment and things like this, as we are in an alpha wave masculine body. And to come to that realization, it may take a lot. But what we're looking to do is to be able to create food forests of heirloom fruits. So they're going to be full non-hybrid foods that fully magnify the body. So they're electromagnetic foods. And create communities and be that bridge as well for anyone who is anywhere, to be able to find each other, to be able to then work together to find a space that they wish to exist and create these communities. And we're going to have the platform, the blueprints for every such community. And we would like to be able to change the money from the hands of the bad into the hands of the good, and the aware and the conscious that can't be corrupted. Because we have no desires. To be desireless is to be fully trusted. And all we want to see, because we truly know the operation of the world, we know that we can't change the world. It's an entity that's going to exist because it's duality.
But so we are a new one.
We are trying to create the sidestep now, because the universe or the earth has actually presented corona to allow the separation. So this is the world that's slowly forming a new reality for the unconscious. And we're here on this side now trying to create a platform for the conscious people to be able to move into, to be able to grow and continually practice their awareness, to be able to embody consciousness to the rate that they choose or can vibrate at any particular time. And everything that we're doing now is for anyone who is trying to find that space.
Well, this is the two world split that they could keep talking about, where you're going to have kind of more the matrix here, and then people who want to live consciously and virtuously kind of creating their reality. And I think what's exciting for me is that money in the right hands can do a lot of good. And actually we need to realize that how we spend our money and where we put our money is really, really important. And then I suppose the vision as well is to kind of create our own trusts, which obviously is a legal entity that if we wanted to interact in the matrix we could, but realistically the communities can sit outside of the matrix and operate within their own little subculture.
Being aware also shows you the insights into the matrix, so you're always 10 steps ahead of what's going on. If we were investing money, for example, which we didn't, don't and won't, now my friends have listened to me, and my friend put some money in somewhere and he's got £500,000 from just investing into certain investments, and this is in the space of like 6 to 8 months. But you get this awareness when you see from up here across the whole board. And when you were speaking of trust, all we need to do is, once we've got a certain collective awareness of higher functioning or higher conscious beings, it's only a small amount of money to create something the business world does. And like, for an example, if we are choosing to fly, but we have no planes and we can't go into the commercial realm, then 1,000 people with £1,000 is 1 million. Now you can buy the jet, put that in a trust, and all you need to do is pay maintenance and maybe if you haven't got a pilot, just pay for a pilot. But if you were to pay for a pilot, it would only be like 25p each time that you are flying, and then the fuel itself would be minimal. So you could create your own way of flying, which would be £1,000, which would be a flight for your family anyway. And then you have access to a plane that was not built in with the commercial world, and it would be for the conscious community. And if people are, not necessarily wanting to move from where they are at, you can also create a pool or a land pool system where you could create another entity within a trust, such as, if we just think of a business that is there to grow organic food for you and the people within inside that trust.
Different communities.
You would probably spend nearly a month's food to create it if there was a group of maybe 500 people or even maybe 200 people. And then you could buy a huge amount of hectares, get the fruit trees in and not have to do the work, but you could utilize each other's monies that they have to make this entity work itself for you, and then just go and collect your food for free for the rest of your life.
Wonderful. Tash in the comments, Tash Clark just said to create the Garden of Eden, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah, this is the end goal, is Earth itself is ready.
And the Eden is the
etherical den. This is the hidden space. But fruit itself is our true food. It's toilless. With vegetables and seasonal fruit, you have to plant the seeds every time you harvest them as such, but the fruit trees just continue to drop, with or without you. And once this starts to happen, the whole earth itself will just inhabit what is available in that environment in abundance. And if you're lucky enough to be around the equatorial zone, this is where food will just equate itself. And you will find full abundance any given time. And then you have true time to be able to practice and to be able to heighten perception, to be able to understand the electromagnetic body we have, and to be able to just go to spaces that no one has ever perceived before.
Creating magic.
Yeah, becoming the master of your reality and creating magic. So this is where we're going, people. And obviously we'd love you to come and join us in the program. Thank you. We've had loads of people purchase already. So thank you to everybody who has already joined us. It's going to be quite the journey. But obviously this week is about patience. So patience is like the ultimate virtue, isn't it, really? I remember as a child, my dad saying, patience is a virtue, patience is a virtue. So Ah, okay. So is this the numerology of patience, Michelle?
Yeah, I don't know if is it backwards to you, or does it seem
No,
right?
that's perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. So yes, I wrote the numbers of each of this is the simple numerology. So it all adds up to 73.
Okay.
73, I don't know if any of you know, is a star number. It's called a star number.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like the masculine and feminine like uniting. So the numbers, so the two triangles coming together. If I show you on the top here, this is like the little chakra diagram that I drew.
Yeah.
At the top here, the triangles of, yeah, if you hold it there, the masculine and feminine uniting.
Yeah.
Also, we've got the crosses here, the X's. There's an X here and an X here, the two crosses. So
Yeah.
what we were speaking about earlier this afternoon. It represents as well, a lot of the number 6 comes up because of the hexagon. And the 6th chakra is the third eye.
Mm-hmm.
So that is linked a lot to the star as well. And yeah, so if we climb the chakras and we get to number 6, that's where the light comes. And this chakra, if it's open, it deals with inner sight, so insight.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's blocked, it gets blocked by illusion or delusion. So from the matrix, all of the, those thought demons that Josh was saying about earlier, is they come into play from the block of the energy system. So the chakras and the virtues are heavily linked. So yeah, if you've got the insight or the inner sight, then that's when you can flow.
I think we might have lost connections of them.
No, we're good.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, we're good.
And patience.
So we're gonna unpack that more, though, aren't we? We're gonna go through that in the course.
Yeah.
Like unpack it a lot more for people, because it's quite mind-blowing when you see the connection to it.
If you see where the third eye actually is positioned, this is the gland that is linked to the third eye, is the pineal.
Yeah.
And it secretes the melatonin, and the secretion is at its highest at 3:30 a.m. in the rising. And at 3:30 a.m. this rising for you guys in the UK is the new moon.
New moon.
So tonight for you guys, special evening of practicing your patience.
One truly knew the power of the moon, its magnificence, its to magnify sense. And these things here will be brought in as well. But I mean, the information that is here and ready can just take a long time to be able to process it. We'll keep it simple for now.
Yeah.
Patience itself, as you said, it was the one that was ingrained into us all as we were children. I don't think our mums and dads knew any other virtue.
No.
Just patience. But patience, so the first few words is PATI, and this is the light of the alpha physical with consciousness, or the light at the eye. And this is what Michelle was talking about within the third eye, that can be blocked by the illusion, and the illusion comes from patience, because if you're sat in somewhere, the only impatient nature is your illusion.
So really, the virtues, the other thing that they do is help unblock all of our energy centers, don't they?
That is what
they do.
Job, yeah.
Each one will go into your system. If you embrace it fully and you do what we're sharing, it will unlock it. The energy arises. The next one, and it rises, and it'll keep rising until you're continually free and you are unaffected.
And if you think of the laws of attraction, is that's what comes back to you is what you're giving off. And we emanate light when we're our aura around us. We are emanating, and that's a nice 8 word as well, isn't it?
EM in 8, which is electromagnetism, innate, which is innate, which is in everything, because it's all to do with torus and magnetic field.
And the energy that we're giving off is that law of attraction is bringing it back to us as we give it out. So it's like
but
a
how do you see
reciprocation.
it? How do you know this? How can you believe this? These virtues will not make you believe it, they will make you know it. You will see it. If you have
I think that's worth reiterating though for everybody listening, that this is the real work. This is why we're here, to open our energy centers and become, we talked about it last week on the show, Michelle, we were saying the misnomer around the 144,000, how everybody thinks it's kind of actual people, but no, it's the vibration obviously of the fully open chakra system. And so
144 is actually light. Its definition of the number is light, and that's when we get to the crown, is the crown bursts, and we are light, a light being.
And 73 itself, just because we're on video and I know people can play this back if they need to, is 7 and 3 also represents 10. 10 is the net, 0 and 1, the energies again.
So the net, or the 0 and 1s here, are where we can get stuck.
Okay.
So after the 9, the 0 and 1s, the matrix coding, the 10. So that is where the trap is. And if we go towards the virtuous life, the virtuous X life, that's where we free ourselves, and that's the key to open the left side and pour out into the right and become balanced with the X.
And earlier on, you were saying about the virtues, and we didn't break it down. I've had it here since, but V is the mastered number. This is 22. 22. If anybody knows the numerology, this is like
master number 22. Yeah.
This is consciousness. So the mastered consciousness in full magnetic physical. This represents you, or your cup, with the ether sine wave. So we all know that our body is an electrical alpha wave. Well, we may not know, but it is an electrical alpha wave. And we're looking to try to find the longitudinal wave, which is like a Z. And this is the Z ion, or Zion, the holy place. So the mastered consciousness, full magnetic physical view with the ether sine wave. So the virtues themselves are joining you with the etherical sine wave. That's the purpose of them. You're collapsing the prism of light which has kept you in prison, and you're putting it back into the gold, the golden aura, A-U-Ra, the golden sun. And this is philosophy. This is what the philosopher's stone is. If you look at the word philosopher, you see phi lost cipher. Now the phi is the phi cycle world. To lose is to lose the phi, and the cipher is the key. So the philosopher's stone and the stone itself, this is why stones are conscious, and you may not have the ability to resonate with them, but they are fully conscious.
Your crystals.
See ST1, the sine wave of the physical one. If you see the word tone, you'll see it's a physical one. And this is why the word of God created life, because it's all to do with the sine wave tone. And it's not set in stone until you decide it to be within this vibrational world.
But to simplify for everybody, the virtues is the ladder that will take you up. And
it is the
energy.
L adder, and you're adding yourself to become L, and L is the root word in Sanskrit for God.
And then if you look at that, the ladder, the H and the 8 are climbing. And this is where we climb the ladder, climb Jacob's ladder, which is the H, linked to the 8, which is the 8 is the emanate. And this is where we climb the virtuous, or the energy path, to reach enlightenment. And the stones, what Josh was talking about, the crystal stones, they create energy. They give off that vibration that also draws in that energy to you, with the tone and the sound, and that is creation. And this is where we're trying to head. And with all of these extra little keys, we can create this balance within that, in the center. and truly climb those steps.
Yeah, we would love to be able to find beings. We've been on the search for a long time to find beings that are able to handle this information, to be able to share it. But I think we have to present it out there and allow it to feed into the consciousness before it can be brought into this fruition, because this truly is high wisdom, high occult knowledge. This is something that is being brought down to a basic level so people can just action it, even if they don't have the awareness, if they have a belief or a faith.
But that's what we need. That's the purpose of the virtues, isn't it? Is we need something which can be universally adopted,
Yeah,
and is simple, because it enables people to grasp it and live it. And as you said, they don't necessarily have to have the level of knowledge that you guys have got. But
No, but I think with learning as well, with earning L, you have to have patience, and it will click, and then you can listen to these videos time and time again, and eventually it will is. It's exactly that. And as soon as you get that inner sight or that inner tuition, that's when it all clicks, and good things come to those who wait. So the patience is another saying that we used to get told.
I had that one when I was well.
As young ones.
I suppose in my experience, it's almost like when you're diligent and when we're a seeker and you're on this path, I feel like the right information is presented to you at the right point. It's like I've always had the right teachers or the right people show up and the right doors open when I was ready. But I've been diligent in my practice and application, and this has been my life's work, really.
And you're reciprocating that energy. You're giving off your vibration, your light, and you're drawing those energies back to you, because that's what you need at that specific time to bring you up the ladder and to further your path.
Always remain true to yourself at any given moment, and you will be guided by the highest.
The truth will set you free.
This is not a joke.
Well, this is for chakra, isn't it? Speaking our truth, being able to actually live our truth, and not getting blocked here, because a lot of people.
Communication, the word.
If we speak the untruth, or we do the untruth, for example, even if you tell the smallest of lies, they say you're not lying to anybody else, you're lying to yourself, because you truly know. And what's happening from that lie, you pop up a demon, and that demon's there in your head saying, I shouldn't have said this, what if they think this of me, and they know I'm lying. But that itself there is just a manifestation of an entity itself being brought into your field. And the only way that can be dispelled or exercised, if this is the exorcism, is by being truthful, is by unblocking that via this virtue system.
And it's like Josh says, is the issue. You've got an issue, and it's you, is within you. Everything is within you.
It is not external.
No, sure.
If people Sorry.
So, well, I just think for people listening, obviously, it's one thing to say you need to practice patience, but that's, everybody knows they need to be patient. Can we I know we're going to doing this in the program, but I'd like for everybody listening, let's put a little bit of meat on the bones about actually how do you live this in a day-to-day. Talk us through, you're standing in a queue for a shop and you're late. Like, what happens?
Everything is a process of escalation. Nothing is the problem until you've built up and you continue to build up. So for example, if we were in a queue, the queue would have spontaneously manifested itself for you to be able to deal with your patient, for an example. This may be unseen, but once you practice the virtues, you will see, and when you free yourself, you'll find that things, for an example, a till will just open up for you and it'll go in. But in patience, you have to have an identity. You have to have a type of function. So you're sat in a till, it's taking too long. Why is it taking too long? Because your mind is telling you that it's taking too long. Now that mind itself is speaking to you, and what you're doing is you're bringing yourself to the identity of that mind. You're focusing on that thought form, and now it's actually found its way into your center, your energy field. You'll feel the resonance of where it's blocking, and you'll know exactly where it is. This is probably going to be temporal. This is the forehead pain that we may feel when we're dealing with the matrix and such. So your impatience-ness, for example, will actually electromagnetically create a situation for it to take longer.
to see how you react.
You won't find freedom being that vibration, because what's happening is your vibration is drawing the experience to you, as life is a great teacher for you. And only until you're free from impatience, that this world or the earth itself will no longer align situations for you to learn from, because life will not need to teach you anymore. So you see, it's only your illusion of popping a thought form into your mind, creating the unstable nature from your chakras or your energy center, which is manifested into emotion or to body heat or to anger.
So it's the kind of energy you give off that causes the reaction almost.
And once you do practice these, like, these are long time ago, but once you practice these, you'll actually see that if you remain virtuous, someone will just turn around, like in a movie. Do you want to come in front of me? Yeah. As long as you're practicing, because it takes practice to be able to remain in this balance.
I was going to say, like, say you're late for your work. Most of us are working from home now, but say you're late for work, and of course the natural thing would be, okay, I'm going to get in trouble for being late.
Yes.
So is this all about maintaining?
But they go back, because at the end of the day, if you're late, you can't change anything about it. If you're present in this moment, all you're doing is you're actually in a queue waiting to be able to be served, and then you would be continuing your journey. Now, most of the time, someone's probably going to be 1 or 2 minutes late. So all you're being is 1 or 2 minutes late. Yet every situation that you have in that journey is powered by your electrical nature of blocked energy center, manifesting situations as you go through. Traffic light, stop. Oh my gosh, I really need to go through the traffic lights. And then if you go through a traffic light, you'll find that you get a fine. And you see that how every experience that you have, this falls down to now diligence. Because of your lack of diligence, which is a virtue, you weren't in the situation you needed to be in, because you weren't being timely to your experience that you needed to do to have a proper function that day. So it's all down to virtues. Every single situation, every single experience.
So they're very linked then, aren't they?
Yeah. I think the expectations of a being is very dependent on the situation as well, because you expect things to happen and then they test you and they don't happen, and then you think, oh.
You can only be disappointed by having an expectation. So if you stay open and just enjoy an experience, which is always going to happen anyway, then you won't actually manifest bad experiences, because you've let go. Life will just happen, and it'll be an incredible thing without you bringing your own identity into this play. And that makes all the stress, because no matter what's happened on the journey, for example, to work, and you're late, is always going to happen. But it's only you that identifies with this moment as a problem that creates all of this field, this unhappiness, this negative vibration. That really you could just be smiling on the way to work, because everything is as it should be. You pull up and you're late, it's absolutely fine, because this is just what's happened. You can't do nothing about it. All you need to do is deal with yourself. If you're trying to think for other people in an experience that has not happened yet, you are now in the realm of future anxiety. Now, this is attached to a sin that is not recognizing the true nature of life via the virtues. And it all works against the virtues and sins, because it's just happening. Everything is happening, and it's only you that creates the uncomfortable nature from journey to journey to journey. So by slowing down and allowing things to happen, if you're aware enough to see, and you just really try to perceive the subtle nature of reality, and subtle is such a great word. If you know, it's spelled with a B. And why? Because it's sub, which is below. T is physical. This is the L of the ether. So it's below your physical within the ether realm. So this is all energetic. So the subtle nature of your reality, or the real I, Tai, is below the veil of your physical nature, and everything is energy. You just need to see it. You need to be able to read it. You need to be able to understand it. And then you are on a different plane of existence, observing the nature of your reality.
So you're observing rather than being reactive, and you
can't react. You cannot react when you found the virtue system and you have practiced it to such a point that your eyes are now energy. You don't go back into the realm of just observing physical, because you can. Your eyes are now are projected to energy. That's how I can only say.
And we're going to be giving people like practical tools, aren't we, that they can, utilize day to day in the program, aren't we? So that they can
scenarios.
live it.
I think within patience as well, there's a kind of internal thing happening. Like, say, for instance, with like listening, like Aloise, you're very good at this because of what you do online as well. You're a really good listener because how you host your shows is like listening to a lot of different beings and putting things together and helping beings get across their kind of work as well. So I find that you're really good at listening, but a lot of people, when they're listening to something from family or friends or even their children, their left brain is chattering, something, what are we doing later on, switch off, not really listening, being quite impatient, and then they kind of want to get rid of that conversation quite fast. They're not having peace within and balance. So
it's quite noisy for the mind as well. You notice the chatter itself, which is heightened by the sin, it's just going on. These people are tuning into their noise, and then the noise here makes them snappy. So for example, with children, if you've got children, the most important thing you can be is present and to enjoy the moment with them, because they're learning from you. And
your family, everyone's on a learning journey. And I think that it's really important to give beings your time and your energy when you're actually with them, rather than being like shut off with all these fault demons, because gentle care and guidance is the key to help
because you can't change will. That's the key to this whole experience. You can't change will. You want to awaken someone, you can. They have to have the will to be able to awaken themselves.
You can't push anything.
If you're the light, then that shines so bright that it gives this wonderful presence when they're in your field.
They will follow that star, that shining star of bright light. If
you try to change it, what happens? This is what I was trying to do with Misha at the start, trying to present information to such a point that if someone's trying to change your will, they feel oppressed. It's a feeling. They might not know what's this oppressive feeling, but every time you're trying to interact, it's almost a dominating aspect of your ego.
And then they pull backwards, and you're
doing the reverse.
What you're saying, which I totally love, is by being the example and by raising your energy, your vibration, your field, and being this person that they resonate with, that they want to understand more with. You're in bliss by example.
You're in bliss, and they want to be there with you because you're that aura that you're shining.
Why are you so happy all the time?
How come you're I've had people say to me, God, your life just seems to go really well.
Why is that, Aloise?
Believe me, at times, Michelle, it really didn't. But
But that was your test, and then you've overcome that. And those demons that were there, they were there for a reason. And now, when you look back, you can say, actually, that really taught me a really valuable lesson. And the ones that are the hardest, when you feel like it's going wrong and that downward spiral, are the actual ones that have taught you the most.
But you need to be empowered by knowledge.
We talk about in our community, in the Dharma community, we say, this is our hero's journey. It's not going to be easy and simple, but it is about how you respond to it. We don't give up. And so.
But it's also the game of life. It's what we've been born into, what we chose to do. We chose this, we chose to leave, and we chose to come on this journey for a reason. And now we're getting the keys to return. And this is where we're heading.
And it's just awareness, because consciousness, everything is consciousness. And as we chose to have an individual nature as undivided duality as duality, we have separated ourselves from the Godhead, the observer position.
Well, most people don't know that if you see what I mean. Like, I love Michelle's point about this is the game of life, because actually when we understand that, really what we're giving with the virtues is the rule book.
100%.
And the instruction manual about actually how to win at the game of life. And actually you chose to be here at this time to help consciousness shift and to help create a better world, and to become one of the 144,000 that make it home.
This is, and you will receive everything that's found in the Bible, all of these religious texts, into a simple teaching for one to apply, whether they're conscious or unconscious of it, to be able to find their way through life and understanding how life is working. It's the mechanics of life.
Well, and again, I think that's the thing. None of us have, we've gone from probably being born into a very unconscious family. And I kind of learned the hard way,
the way that you were supposed to, because it's taken you to this point now. Right.
If we were able to give you the virtue handbook as you were young, you would have been able to see and relate situations in your life and go, wow, I just seen that happen because I did this. I better not do this next time. And then you would grow. I mean, awareness itself was 1,000-fold quicker through the virtues than it would be in just life experience.
And does little man practice the virtues?
Of course.
He loves.
He is incredible. At 4 years old, he can separate thought and ego and be able to express that ego is telling him something and not act upon it at 4.
Now
He's very, but he listens to us all day, so he kind of picks up on everything.
Well, he could do virtues for kids. Like
he wants to. He wants his own little. YouTube channel. What I was going to say about listening as well, there was another side to it. If we, with listening to others, but when we listen to just the natural signs of nature and just become one, listen to the inner self is like our highest tutor. It's like when we meditate, we just got to let go, and we, you can envision that like silence and that balance and that peace, and that's all we need to bring to our being, is that exact central peace that we all should be living in, and that bliss and that joy. And that's
your mind, if you can truly see it, your mind just pulls you out of it.
Yeah, every time.
It just pulls you out of this space, boom, into this realm.
Even in meditation, it will be like this for hours.
And you don't want to meditate what the world has presented to us, to sit here like this. You'll sit here like this if you haven't mastered the virtues, and your head will become the noisiest place.
It will make it worse.
Meditation is me die at 8. To me, balance at 8. I need to balance the 8. It's about continually practicing to remove thought, because thought itself, the more spiritual one is, the less thought or thinking nature they have. But thinking natures only come from sin, because every time you sin, pop, a thought form happens. How do you destroy the thought form? Or is it going to sit with you and destroy you?
So you're literally killing off your thoughts in the nicest possible way through being virtuous.
Exactly that. You're removing the blocked energy centers, the thought patterns and the attachments that we have, relieving yourself from any stress, negativity, pain body experiences. And if you truly integrate the virtues in your life with a high intellect, you will live for a very long time.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? Most people are overthinking, like something happened, they said something, they did something that didn't go their way, or it's all the stuff that they're regretting almost, and that's causing, as you said, the problems.
But that's it. That's where we get trapped again. If I show you this picture, is here in the net. The 10 is right in that energy center there, and the top one is where we reach the 12, the L.
The 12 is the twining of L, the twin to win. So you must merge these two energies together.
And this.
Yeah.
The L at the top.
Alpha.
The level.
Alpha L. And this is the ether L, red and blue shield.
And the level L, Eve, even, with the X in the center, EVE.
Yeah.
The 12 times 12, which is the L, the L is the 12, and it equals the 144,000, which is our light.
As this will release light once you've activated.
Right.
And these at the bottom, where we got the 12 times the 3, 6, and the 9, is
micro and macrocosm geometry, which
these are the golden triangle.
Related to pi.
5.
Pi, sorry.
Okay, you're going to have to break that one down for us.
Yeah.
But maybe not tonight.
Yeah, in our courses.
And the hero you can see as her O, which is her vibration. She contains a negative charge that we all need on this magnetic experience we're having to join to. If you separate that, you'll see the vibration H, which is also 8, which represents the reciprocating field of E and R, which is the ethical magnetic field of void. So the hero's journey is the vibration into the ether of a full magnetic void. So you're creating a full magnetic body, mind, self, spirit, experience.
Wow. Wow.
And that is through the words that we speak. The A and the E. These are the reciprocating toruses. One is the alpha wave, and this is the etherical one.
Longitudinal, latitudinal waves of creation, magnetism.
And this is the 3, 6, and 9.
I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U. The true arm is A-Um, and I is 9, consciousness void of you. So the alpha, the ether, consciousness void within you is the vowels. If you look at the word vowels, it's your vowel to the L.
And I owe you to know this. We owe ourselves.
Everything in life is synchronized to the highest degree.
So I'd just like to say at this point that for everybody listening, what happens after this show is I go through it and I dissect it, and then I break it down, and then I go, Josh, is this right? But and then we're going to make it so we can actually, because I didn't grasp that, I'll be perfectly honest.
Okay, yeah.
Well, this is just showing a relationship. That's
Yeah.
what it needs to show. You can see that this is the vowels.
Yeah.
We know that the A and E is breaking into your being. You know, this is one side of a torus, this is another. This is number 9. 9 is the consciousness. If you see the letter I, it's like a line to the spine and a dot to the third eye.
Can you remember Tesla saying the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9?
It's to magnify sense. It's magnify sense. It's magnificent. It's to magnify sense. And how do you do it? We have the keys. We want to give them to you, and we want everybody to be able to unlock themselves.
So this is what we will be doing in the program. We will be simplifying and unlocking it so everybody can grasp it, including myself. Guys, fantastic. Thank you so much. Like, obviously tonight was all about patience. Lovely to have Michelle with us, hear her side of the story. And then what are we doing in 2 weeks' time, Josh?
What do you think we should go to for secondary? Charity, maybe? I think maybe charity. I think to be able to truly understand charity, because to be able to give is to truly receive. And once you let go of holding on to money, for example, you know it will flow back to you once you've had that experience. It's the emotion, the field that you project from your vibration that brings in scarcity. And you hold on to these things. As soon as you let go, you vibrate at a different level than scarcity, thus attracting into your life abundance.
Love it. Love it. So we're going to be looking at, on the 26th of April, we are going to be talking about how charity is a virtue. So you've got 2 weeks. Please go and practice your patience out there, everyone listening. Please come and join us if you would like to. on the Virtuous Life. Just put the link in the comments. As I said, we're going to be doing the program. We're going to be doing these shows for about 16 weeks, and we're going to be launching the program. If you sign up before the end of the shows, you get the introductory price to encourage you guys to come on the journey with us. And then I'm sure it will evolve, and there'll be live Q&A sessions within the program. And then, probably I would imagine some type of community is going to come off the back of it. But we'll see. We'll see how we roll.
An interactive support group, so everybody who's engaging in the virtues can communicate with each other with their experiences on a day-to-day basis, because it's so spontaneous. Something will happen, you'll see the reaction, now you're aware of it. Oh my God, this has happened. And you bounce off each other, you hear other people's stories, so it builds a wonderful conscious web, but inside of you, breaking the realm or the bound areas of unconscious behavior, bringing yourself to this consciousness.
And let's just put a shout out there as well, Josh. Is there anything you guys need? Because obviously, we're raising money with this program, obviously for the vision. You're still looking for the land, is that right? Is it? Because I just think we've got loads of people. We've got a couple of thousand people watch these shows. Let's harness our community. Is there any kind of support, or I know you're still looking for the land, like anything maybe people out there can help with?
I just feel, from my point of view, I have so much to offer in many different directions, that really I was able to synchronize the knowledge of all the ages and what we have now and bring solutions to every aspect. So really it's about people that have or may find themselves in a certain area that can have something they feel may offer, and we can maximize them, rather than about us. Because I feel, we know life, we trust life. And this is why we're here in this particular moment, because we're trying to align with the energies now. And also another block within inside yourself is having a belief that one who is spiritual shouldn't have any relationship with money. This is a program that's been put out there, and if you sit with it, you'll stop the abundance flowing into you. So what you do now is you utilize energy, which is in the form of embodiment within the beings that are in this realm, and you utilize that to be able to create something that's beneficial to all. Absolutely. So it's a really difficult thing to answer, but if anybody feels like they can interact with us or have anything that we can work together with, just reach out, because many aspects of things, time is precious, but we also just want to be able to create the funding so this can initially set itself off, and once it's been set, then it will just manifest itself across the realm. Our website that is finished, we are just loading up the information, and continually we're going to be putting information in different courses each month for people to just master every single element that is there up for mastery.
The guys have been done a really good job on the website. So really soon it's going to be out for all beings to join us there as well, isn't it? So
and
thanks to the team for that.
Thank you. If you're there, we are very much graciously appreciative of all the work and dedication that your team has done for us. But so just reach out if there's anything you feel like you can help with. If someone's a specialist in trust, if someone's a specialist in law, if anybody has
private plane, we need to travel.
Yes, please. If you've got a private plane,
that's the main thing we need.
Someone's great on the dark web.
Absolutely. So we will be back 26th of April. Enjoy yourself, guys. Remember, we don't need to stay safe, we need to stay present. Why do we need to stay present, Josh?
Because once you're in the presence, you have a perfect geometry within inside of yourself, and the energy will flow. Thus, life will not need to teach you anything. If you don't, and patience is not there, presence is not there, then unfortunately you're stuck within the thought realm, and the energy is not aligned, which will manifest situations for you to overcome. Thus, you will not be safe. If you're in the presence of God, which truly is you are always looked after.
I think presence is the true present.
It is the true present.
The gift. It's a gift to us all.
Pre-sense, which is before.
So by staying present, we are staying safe.
We are,
100%. You cannot be affected. If someone was on their path to try to cause you harm, life itself would present a situation to not let that thing happen. So surrender.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So guys, stay present and we will see you on the 26th of April. Take care. Bye-bye.